What's going on, guys? Bradshaw here. Whoa, we've got the Pocket 3. I love the way that this thing tracks me. Makes the video a little bit more dynamic. It's gonna be great when I trip over one of these rocks and end up on my ass. It's gonna follow that too. Man. What's going on, guys? Bradshaw here. I'm at Moto Morini and I just picked up this brand new 2024 X-Cape. This is a 649cc machine. It's got almost 70 horsepower and it's priced right now at just less than $7,000. It's a lot of bike for the money. We got tubeless wheels right here. We got fully adjustable suspension. Basically, the motor here is made by CF Moto for Moto Morini, and it is an exact clone of Kawasaki's 650 Versi motor. So we know that that motor is bulletproof. We know it's tried and true. So now we're gonna get this bike out on the road, give it a good test, so I can give you my full detailed breakdown of how this machine rides. Now, I'm also going to outfit it, of course, with Nelson rig luggage. So we're going to get both the Hurricane and the Trails End line of luggage on this machine, and you'll see how perfectly those pieces fit. This here is the Moto Morini X-Cape 650. I've been on this thing for 1,200 miles now. I picked it up when it had 3 miles on it. I did the break-in service, which I can tell you the oil that came out of this thing at 600, actually it was 699, 700 miles when I changed the oil, looked beautiful. There were no chunks, it wasn't grainy. Anything that was in there was a super fine consistency. I have never done an oil change on any of my European motorcycles that's looked this clean, so that should be telling you something there. If you wanted a 2-sentence summary about this machine so you could click off this video and stop watching it, I would have to say 2 things. This has got to be the most approachable mid-weight motorcycle I've ever ridden. The seat height is super low, and it doesn't feel top heavy like some of the other monsters out there like the T7. Super common complaint on that machine. While I still say that the T7 is the easiest to ride off-road adventure motorcycle due to the way the gearing works and the motor works, that still is true. But the approachable nature of this particular machine right here is fantastic. The seat height here is super low. So when I sit on this bike, I'm literally both feet are on the ground. That's huge. The second thing, or the second reason that I think this machine is so approachable is the fact that the motor, I'm going to call it docile. So when I got on this machine and twisted the throttle, I was expecting to get up and go. Well, I'm coming off my 1190 with 150 horsepower, so it's got nearly 100 horsepower more. I mean, it's pretty close. So the first thing I felt was, it felt like I was giving it a lot of throttle and I wasn't getting the engine propulsion that I'm used to. This motorcycle has 3 miles on it. Woo-wee. Turn signals are not self-canceling. But as I got to riding it, which I did for the first 600 miles, I did the break-in on it, I kept it relatively tame or mellow. So as I first rolled out of the parking lot in this thing, I twisted the throttle and I felt like I'm giving it throttle, the throttle's moving, and I'm not getting that thrust forward that I'm used to on a lot of other machines. On my 1190, obviously it just shoots off down the line. I felt like maybe it was doing that because it was still in the break-in period. I didn't quite know. So as I rode this motorcycle over the next 600 miles getting the break-in, I really got a feel for the motor itself, or for the bike. And I got to tell you that there is no time in riding this motorcycle that I felt that it was ever getting out of control. Like, it doesn't matter how hard you whack the throttle, you're not doing a wheelie and looping out. It doesn't matter how hard you slam on the brakes, the ABS works perfect and everything feels like it's in control. It's just a level down from those sportier machines out there in that middleweight adventure market. I would venture to say, and I'm gonna go out there on a limb, and I wanna hear about it in the comments, whether you agree or disagree. If you've had a chance to ride this machine, do you not think it could be the best entry-level adventure bike for somebody who's just want to get their feet wet? I mean, the price point of this machine, full MSRP, is $7,000. That's almost $4,000 less than any T7 you're gonna find on the floor, way less than any Touareg, and it has about the same level of adventurism built into it. All right, let's get into those tech specs, and then we're gonna get to my full detailed breakdown of how I have felt when I've been riding this motorcycle for the last 1,200 miles. This 2024 X-Cape 650 has an MSRP currently of $6,999. The seat height comes in at 33.3 inches. It's got a 58.7 inch wheelbase. The curb weight is 514 pounds. The fuel tank holds 4.8 gallons. Now, when I have filled this up at the gas station, I have been putting in about 3.8, and I'm getting about 170 to 180 miles to the tank. The ground clearance is 7.5 inches, which I tested to maximum capacity. The dash features a full 7-inch color TFT display. It has on-road and off-road ride modes. There are day and night modes on the TFT display depending on when you're riding. It has TPMS, service light, fuel light, temperature, miles to empty, and of course it's got all of the modern connectivity. Bluetooth phone integration for calls, music, map mirroring, and it all is functional on the left-hand switch control. Up on the dash, you're gonna find a dual USB. It's got 2 USB-A ports, and the windscreen has 2 inches of height adjustment. The front suspension features 6.9 inches of travel on 50mm inverted forks with adjustable compression, rebound, and preload. In the rear, we have a 6.5-inch travel KYB shock with adjustable rebound and a threaded preload. The frame is a steel trellis, which gives you great strength. When it comes to brakes, they weren't skimping. We have Brembo front and rear with Bosch ABS, 2-piston floating caliper, and a 298mm dual disc. They didn't skimp on the brake lines. We have full stainless steel braided lines on this machine. When it comes to lighting, we have LEDs for the headlight, the tail light, and the turn signals. The hand switches are backlit, which I really like. When it comes to wheels, they didn't skimp either. We've got Aquanaut tubeless spoke wheels front and rear. The front is a 19-inch, which has a 110/80/19 Pirelli Scorpion Rally STR. And in the rear, we have a 17-inch 150/70/17 Pirelli Scorpion Rally STR. When it comes to the engine, we're looking at a parallel twin, 4-stroke, liquid-cooled, 8-valve, dual overhead camshaft motor. The injection system is a Bosch EFI. It has 649 cc's of displacement with an 83mm bore and a 60mm stroke. The compression ratio is 11.3 to 1. Maximum horsepower is 60 horsepower at 8,250 RPM. Maximum torque is 42 foot-pounds at 7,000 RPM. It features a 6-speed transmission, and the first valve clearance inspection that you're going to need to get is at 25,900 miles. Now the 700, which will be released here pretty soon, is going to have all of the same bells and whistles. We're going to see a 693cc parallel twin motor that produces 70 horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque. All right, jumping back to my actual riding review of this machine, I can tell you that that subdued feeling in the throttle really would be confidence inspiring if I was a new rider. This bike is never, ever going to get out of control. And if it does, you simply either let off the gas or pull in the clutch. Now, speaking of letting off the gas, that's one thing I feel that this bike does better than a lot of the other bikes in its category. And that is the engine braking that happens with this particular motor really works. It has a lot of holdback power, which I really like when going down hills and slowing down for traffic lights and things of that nature. In my walk around of this motorcycle and in listening to John, the tech who took me for a walk around it when I first looked at it, there are so many really neat things built into this motorcycle. The Brembo brakes front and rear are huge. Most of the other motorcycles coming out of the same factory that this machine was made at don't have Brembo brakes. They don't have stainless lines and cables. And those are things that Moto Morini has not skimped on, and I really think that that is a value add for this machine. And looking at the riser setup and the comfort level inside the cockpit, I did feel that my legs were a little bit higher than I thought they should be. Part of that's due to the rubber inserts that are on the foot peg. If you take those out, you drop down about 1 inch, and it's slightly more comfortable. But that being said, I have never not been comfortable on this machine. The risers up here have 6 different adjustments. There are 3 different holes within the triple clamp itself, so you can move the risers forward or you can move the risers back. The bolt on the bottom is also offset, so if you flip the riser around the other direction, you've got 3 more points of adjustment. There are lots of adjustments available on this particular machine when it comes to dialing in your perfect riding triangle. Fully adjustable suspension is one thing that I have found that is really important on these machines. There are a lot of more entry-level machines that they give you decent suspension, but you can't adjust it. You're just stuck with it. Here, on this X-Cape, you can adjust all points of suspension, both front and rear, and I think that is a great value add on this machine. Another benefit is going to be the fully adjustable levers. On both sides, you can adjust where that lever sits so you can get that perfect hand lever position. Now, during the last 1,100 miles, I've ridden with the windscreen in both the upper and lower position. Now, in the upper position and on the highway, for my particular body height, I'm 5'9". I've got about a 31-inch inseam. And this windscreen in the upper position was perfect on the highway. I could see straight over it. I rode in rain twice and it kept me completely dry. I was wearing a Gore-Tex jacket, of course. An odd thing that I found is the fact that my right leg got a lot wetter than my left leg when riding in the rain. I don't know if the fairing's a little bit different, although it's hard to tell because I've got these crash bar bags on here, so maybe that was a contributing factor to how the wind and water was flowing around the motorcycle that day. When it comes to acceleration, I did find that after I hit that break-in period of 700 miles or so and did that first oil change, once I did that oil change, I started riding this bike much harder. And I can say that the upper RPM range of this machine definitely is more peppy and has a little bit more vibe to it than the lower RPMs. I'd say that shift happens right around 7,000 RPM. So if you're riding it below 7,000 RPM, the bike is super docile. Now when you get into the upper RPMs, it's not going to get out of control, but it is going to be just a little bit peppier. Now that's probably my biggest downside to this machine for the highway riding and commute riding that I do. In 6th gear, if you're cruising along 70 miles an hour or so, and you want to pass that car that sits in front of you, you want to do a little zip out and pass, it just doesn't do it in 6th gear. You hit a handful of throttle and nothing happens. You might go 72, 73. But if you downshift into 5th, you get about the same response. You downshift into 4th and it's peppier. Now you're going to go 74, 75, 76, 77. It's going to climb much quicker than it does in 5th or 6th gear. So I wish it was a little peppier or could climb and pass without having to downshift 2 gears. I think that would be a benefit. But again, it goes into that overall rideability. The fact that it's never going to get out of control. I mean, if that's a feature that is built into this machine that's going to allow that to happen, well, it is what it is. And if you want to be zipping around cars super fast, well, then maybe it's time to upgrade to a different machine. Now, I will say that the weight of the motorcycle is a little bit heavier than some of the other adventure motorcycles in this specific class. But I think that weight is a benefit on the highway and in the twisties. On the highway, when it's super windy, you're not getting blown around like you do on a lighter weight motorcycle. I think the 19 17-inch wheel also helps out. There is nowhere out here adventuring around that you cannot get on a 1917, but when you're in the canyons really carving it up, I find extreme amounts of stability coming from this particular tire wheel combo on adventure bikes. My 390 has it and I can rail through corners super hard. This bike has it, same type of thing. When I get onto any of the other bikes with a 21-inch front and an 18-inch rear, I do feel that the bike is a little bit less stable. The front end is lighter and doesn't have as much rubber contact on the ground, and it definitely feels like it wants to push a lot more than this motorcycle here. Now, while this bike is never going to get out of control, can it do triple digits? Absolutely. I've had this motorcycle up to 112 miles per hour. Might have gotten to 114, but I wasn't looking down. Now, I can tell you that the bike is stable and is comfortable at 100 miles an hour, and you could cruise that probably all day long. It was right around 8,000 RPMs is where the motor was while at that speed. So it wasn't at red line, it wasn't really taxing the motor all the way to its potential, but it was just sitting there at that comfortable triple digit speed. And that's what I have for you here on the Moto Morini X-Cape 650. I'm really curious to ride the 700 now that I have my experience with the 650, so I can give you guys a good differentiation video. Like, how does the 700 feel from the 650? What would you expect different? Now, how they got that extra 50 cc's is the bore is the same size around. They just made it a little bit longer, so the stroke is longer, which I believe means it's going to have a slightly higher RPM, or it will get to that higher RPM quicker. That's what I've been told anyway. So hopefully that's the case. They say that that bike is going to feel much more like a T7 when you're out there on the highway or doing adventure things like we're doing out here in the wilderness. If you're curious about getting into the adventure space and you don't want to spend $25,000 on a BMW or $18,000 on a KTM or even $12,000 on a Tenere 700, for right now, $7,500 you could pick up this 650. It's a smoking deal for all of the benefits that you get on this machine. Again, it's easy to ride. It's not going to get out of control. You'll be able to climb through all of these rocks and do all of the things any of the other more expensive bikes do without any problem at all. And at the end of the day, it's inexpensive, it's approachable, it's easy to ride, and I definitely think that this could be the best entry-level mid-weight adventure bike that you could purchase for the money. I'm Bradshaw. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the rig gear products that are on this bike, you can use coupon code manybikes at nelsonrig.com. That'll save you 25% off and get you free shipping. There's also affiliate links down below to Rocky Mountain ATV and Amazon. If you're shopping for products and you want to help support the channel, if you click those links, that'd be great. It doesn't cost you any more and it helps out the channel. And if you've gotten this far and you enjoy the content that I've created on this little machine and you want to see more of it, please leave a comment down below. Please hit that subscribe button. That's the most important part. And that notification bell so you can be part of my notification squad. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, please still give it a thumbs up and then tell me why you didn't like it in the comments. That thumbs down button, I wish I just get rid of it. I don't like that thing. But thumbs up, leave a comment. I really want to hear what you have to say about this machine. I'm Bradshaw. Thank you for watching again. Until next time, take care and ride safe out there.